January 13th, 2025 is a time for returning to balance and harmony after challenges and difficulties. The full moon is in Punarvasu, the return of the light in Gemini. Punarvasu Nakshatra is a section of the sky in the sign of Gemini. And if you actually look at the constellation of Gemini, the twins, there's one that appears to be on the left and one on the right. And the one on the left, if you look at what appears to be the head of the twin, that is Punarvasu Nakshatra. The actual star in astronomy is Castor and Pollux. So you can look this up on the Night Sky app or any astrology app, and that's where the full moon will actually be in the sky today as I'm recording this on Monday, January 13th. But these impacts of the full moon is like a closure of the last 2 weeks and setting the sort of the stage for the next 2 weeks as we go now into the waning moon towards the next new moon. So what is Punarvasu all about? Well, the thing you'll most commonly hear is this idea of the return of the light, or being good again, or becoming good again is what the literal translation of Punarvasu means. So it's like coming into a new level of clarity. And in the actual nakshatras system, there's 27 nakshatras based on the 27 days of the moon cycle. And right before Punarvasu is Gemini, which is actually in Orion. It's not actually in Gemini, fun fact. So Ardra Nakshatra is in Orion. And Ardra Nakshatra represents storms and difficulties and challenges. And you know that feeling like after a storm when there's a dew on everything, the morning is fresh, the sun is rising, it feels refreshing, crisp, clean, and clear. After the storm, that's Punarvasu. Ardra is the storm, Punarvasu is after the storm. So that's one way to think about it and remember it is the relationship with Ardra. And then the next nakshatra after Punarvasu will be Pushya in the whole cycle. So the moon is going through all the nakshatras through every month, and it will go to Pushya after the full moon. And Pushya is more about nurturing and nourishment in the sign of Cancer. But while the full moon is here, it's like that energy is amplified and illuminated and lit up for this whole, what you could consider a 4-week period before and after, the 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after the full moon. And the day of the full moon itself is a great day for celebrations, coming together, community, gratitude. I was deep in depression many years ago. I actually have a moon in Ardra, and moon in Ardra can lead to depression and emotional heaviness like that, and going through challenges. And I learned about gratitude journaling. This is way back in like 2006 or 7 or so. And nobody I knew was doing anything like that. That was not cool. It was, if I told people, I would probably be teased about it. But I knew I needed something. I needed help. I was going through a hard time. And I stumbled upon this idea of gratitude journaling. And I started doing it. I started just writing 3 things a day I was grateful for. And it started to change my whole perspective because now, rather than looking at what wasn't working, I started to look for what was working. And it started to make me want to create more things to have to write in my 3 things of gratitude. And I limited it to 3 because that's what the things I read recommended. And it also made me kind of compete with like, oh, could I be more grateful for this? Or if I do that, or if I do that, which one would I be most grateful for that I've got to put it on my top 3? So it became sort of challenge for me. And within a month or 2, my whole life looked a lot different. And the depression was getting further and further away from me. And a lot of the things I was doing were like self-growth kind of things, like yoga practices, meditation, just doing things I said I was going to do that I thought were maybe too difficult or was going to be too hard, or finishing a song I was writing or whatever. So that's Ardra kind of energy, but the gratitude is the Punarvasu kind of energy. So especially on the full moon in general, but especially on the Punarvasu full moon, it's a great day to even just 3 things you're grateful for. I like to set a timer now is how I do it, usually 5 minutes, and I can type fast. So I end up getting like a long list, and you just try to feel it as well. It's very important that you actually feel the gratitude. It's more important than just like writing it or just having a list, but trying to feel into genuine gratitude of what you feel appreciative for. So it can be very simple, like gratitude to be able to have clean air where you live. Right? When I went to India many years ago, I was immediately taken aback by how harsh and thick the air was, and I never even thought about it. When I got back to Texas after that, it made me really appreciate having clean air. I mean, that's a really nice thing to have, and it's something we just take for granted so easily. Or to have clean drinking water, or to have friends you can talk to, or to have work that you care about, or a pet that you love, or whatever it is for you. Maybe having this study of jyotish, this history of Vedic astrology that we can learn from. I recommend that you set a timer at some point after hearing this to do some gratitude journaling. It can be very powerful, and it sort of changes your frequency and your energy and your attention. So now when you appreciate what you have appreciates in value, and you find more to appreciate. It's this nice virtuous cycle. And Punarvasu has this opportunity for us to bring balance and harmony where we've had challenges and difficulty. So you could look in your own chart, wherever Gemini is in your chart. You may have experienced this recently, some things out of balance, out of harmony, challenges. Like, for example, if Gemini is in your 10th house of career, then you've experienced this imbalance in your career. Or if Gemini is in your 7th house of relationships, you're experiencing an imbalance recently in your relationships. But now, this full moon is an opportunity to bring things back to balance, back into order, back into what aligns with what matters to you. And then we move into the moon, will move to Pushya next, and that's about finding nourishment from those things that matter to you. But Punarvasu, this sort of cycle from Mrigashira to Ardra to Punarvasu inside of Gemini, is like looking at lots of options, feeling a bit distressed, feeling challenged, to now appreciating what you have and focusing on those things that you feel appreciation for. And for example, for me, many years ago, when I was doing that practice, it's made me start to see like, oh, like certain things never make this gratitude list that I'm doing. Like if it's just scrolling through social media or something, I'm doing that, but it's not making my gratitude list. I'm not enjoying it. I'm not happy when I do it, or it's just kind of a habitual pattern, or whatever the thing might be. So in my case, it was actually not social media back then, but it was actually a particular friendship that was consistently very negative and heavy and just not healthy for either of us, really. So, uh, that kept not making my gratitude list. And it's like, well, I'm just going to keep doing things I am grateful for and that I do appreciate and that I do want to do and that I do feel like I am appreciated as well. And that's part of this Punarvasu energy for all of us now, that kind of idea of, where do you feel appreciated? Where do you feel appreciation? And can you bring in more of that in your life? In the mythology behind Punarvasu, the deity is Aditi, which is the mother of the gods. And that is the embodiment of nurturing, limitless, and forgiving energy. As a mother figure, Aditi represents abundance, protection, and the eternal source of creation and sustenance. So it's that doing that sort of mothering thing of like, what do you care for? What do you want to prioritize? And knowing that there is healing and forgiveness for you and any mistakes you might have made, and forgiveness for others and any mistakes they might have made. Like, again, in my example, like needing to spend less and less time with that person in my life, it wasn't from a place of vengeance or anger or resentment. It was just a place of wanting to care for myself and my heart and my energy and my time, and really wanting to care for them too, because I wouldn't want to hang out with somebody who's not feeling like they're enjoying my company either. It's so that's actually like a nurturing, caring, forgiving thing to do, to forgive yourself, or maybe you've spent a lot of energy on something that you didn't prioritize or value and that you didn't really feel aligned with. And you can forgive yourself for the lessons that you learned from that and maybe realizing that wasn't your path. And you may find it valuable to do some sort of forgiveness practice if that is a difficult place for you right now. With Punarvasu energy, it's very supportive to that, on the full moon especially. Is there somebody you need to forgive, that you need to express gratitude and care for? Is it yourself? Is it someone close to you? And forgiveness is always for you. It's for your giving to feel lighter and clearer and able to move on. And that doesn't mean accepting abuse or difficult situations that are harmful to you or anything like that, but it is forgiving the circumstances or the person or the situation or whatever choices you've made so that you can make more compassionate choices for yourself and others going forward, especially as the moon moves forward after today. So Aditi is linked to freedom and liberation, and she nurtures her children to fulfill their roles in the cosmos and the whole mythology of all this. So as you forgive, you create a sense of lightness, of freedom for yourself. You free up your energy. And there's also the connection of Punarvasu with Lord Rama in the Ramayana and the myth of Rama. And Rama was believed to be born under this nakshatra, with his life exemplifying the themes of renewal and resilience. Despite enduring exile and numerous challenges, Rama upheld dharma, righteousness, and ultimately restored order and prosperity in the Ramayana. So if you want to go really deep into the Vedic tradition, you could look into the Ramayana. It's a very large text. It'll take you a long time to read through. I haven't read the whole thing myself, but I'm aware of the mythology, and Rama is often associated with Sita and Sita Ram as like songs, especially like kirtans about the love and devotion. And Rama has to overcome a lot of challenges and difficulties in the mythology there. And it's a good example of this Punarvasu energy and connecting to your dharma and your purpose. And that also helps you overcome challenges. So this is also a good time as you're hearing this to reconnect to what do you feel is your purpose, your values, what's most important to you in life? And are you living in alignment with that? Or is there some room for improvement there? And only you can really know what that is, but you feel it, you sense it, you get feedback too. Usually, you know you're on the right path when you're helping people, when people are expressing their gratitude to you for how you've helped them. And that also helps you fulfill your purpose of your sense of service and giving your gifts to the world. And if you feel a little lost or uncertain there, that's okay. I definitely can relate. I was there for quite a long time in my 20s of like trying a lot of things and not fully sure if I was on the right path and doubting myself a lot, questioning things. But this full moon, again, as you tune into what you're grateful for, what's going well, what you want more of, what you want to have appreciate in your life, and where you feel appreciated, that can help you guide you on the right track. It should feel light and flow, natural. Yes, there's going to be challenges and obstacles, and that doesn't feel as easy and it feels heavy sometimes. But when you get quiet and still and you quiet the mind through meditation or yoga practice, even if it's just for a few minutes, there's something that naturally arises in you, an awareness, an intention, a desire, an energy. There's certain things you feel energy towards, not charge, not triggers, but like a sort of passion, this drive, this energy and excitement that you know is in alignment for you. And you feel clearer, you feel excited, you feel energized by it. That's part of your dharma, very likely. So, with this energy as well, the Rama energy is a great example of this Punarvasu. And then in the symbology for the nakshatras, the symbol for Punarvasu, do you know? It's a quiver of arrows. And what is the quiver of arrows? Well, it's not just one arrow to shoot at a target, it's representing being prepared, being ready, being able to adapt if you need to, having options. And as we've gone through Gemini, the moon has gone through Gemini, it's about exploring some options, considering some different things. And then Punarvasu is now ready to take action because an arrow is something that is very precise and directed in a particular direction when it's used. But this quiver of arrows means it's ready to be used. Not that it's necessarily you have to use it now, not that you have to take a big action right now, but that you have options. You've done some preparation, you've considered options, and you're ready to go and you're ready to adapt if you need to. And much like an archer prepares to take another shot, regardless of their previous failures, they have this quiver of arrows ready to go, like, okay, take another shot. Okay, try again. And Punarvasu is a lot about this. Like, okay, life humbles us over and over again. The moon goes through this cycle every month, back through Punarvasu, and our emotions, our mind, our energy has to reset in a way. And okay, let's try again. Let's try a new perspective. Let's try something else, particularly wherever Gemini is in your chart or influence in your chart. But this is an opportunity to have a new perspective and do, if you haven't done any preparation of the direction you're going in life or prepared for the next phase of the next month, then this is a good day to do that as well, which might include things like cleaning the house, clearing up unfinished tasks, closing open loops that you have that could be draining your energy, making your home have better feng shui where things just are in flow, clean, organized, and ready to go. And you don't even have to need to know exactly where you're going, but that you have more of this sort of order and preparation, which is part of the energy of Punarvasu as well. So these are some of the things to consider during this full moon in Punarvasu in Gemini right now. If you want to go deeper into understanding your chart and all of astrology, then the Vedic Astrology Mentorship just started. We have an amazing group joining from around the world. And there is an opportunity for late registration if you missed the enrollment period. Just go to quietmindastrology.com/mentorship. And for a limited time, you can still join in on this class, but the next class will be starting later this year if you want to join in later. And you do get access to all future classes as well. But that's where we go super deep into all the nakshatras, planets, signs, houses, everything in your chart, your D9 chart, your own dashas and transits. So you learn a ton about yourself and you learn a ton about others and how to give readings. So you're able to pull up any chart on the spot and start to read it like you would read a book without needing to do a ton of preparation for that one reading because you've done all the preparation for all the symbols for any possible reading that you could do. So it's quietmindastrology.com/mentorship if you're interested in checking that out. And if you want to schedule a reading as well, quietmindastrology.com/reading is where you can book a one-to-one reading with me. And we'll look at what's going on for you. And right now it's January, so the new year, you get a new year horoscope for the next 12 months and one-to-one perspective and support to the transits and dashas you're going through and all the major themes in your birth chart. That's at quietmindastrology.com/reading. If you're enjoying the podcast, take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps tremendously. It means a lot, and it helps more people learn Vedic astrology from this ancient roots of the system. And the more people we have doing this, the more community we have, and the more we all get to learn and grow from each other. And it's just more fun when you can share notes with people. And especially in my mentorship program, it's so fun getting a group of people together and we can all just nerd out together and, oh, they see this and they see that and I see this and we all see these things that we might miss that right now and they see it and oh man, we can talk about the aspects and the dashas and the transits and everything else. So super fun. If you're interested in going deeper with me, quietmindastrology.com. Thank you for listening, and that's the main transit for this week. So that's all for this week. We do have the sun in Capricorn, but I talked about that on the monthly horoscope. Check that out. So check that out. It's on the 14th. Sun moves into Capricorn for a month. So check the monthly horoscope if you want to see more about that. And lastly, if you want all the transits in your calendar app, that's at mindfulnewyear.com, where you can sign up for the training to get the calendar for the year and plan your year in sync with astrology. So thanks for listening and look forward to sharing more with you next time on the Quiet Mind Astrology Podcast.